Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nistiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya. चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay. Hmm. 329:17. महतां बहुमानेन दीनानाम् अनुकम्पया मैत्र्या चैवात्मतुल्येषु यमेन नियमेन च. The pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas. He should be compassionate to the poor, not materially poor, spiritually poor, and make friendship with persons who are his equals. But all these activities should be executed under regulation and with control of senses. So this is very, very important part. It basically means that we cannot do these activities whimsically, however we want. And who follows regulation and tries to control his senses is a pure devotee. Hmm. Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, it is clearly stated that one should execute devotional service and advance on the path of spiritual knowledge by accepting the Acharya. Acharya Upasanam. Acharya Upasanam. One should worship an Acharya, a spiritual master who knows things as they are. Spiritual master must be in the disciplic succession from Krishna. The predecessors of the spiritual master are his spiritual master, his grand spiritual master, his great grand spiritual master, and so on, who form the disciplic succession of acharyas. So, what does this greatest respect mean? Greatest respect to the acharya. What does it mean? How do we respect somebody? Hare Krishna.
by following his instructions.
By following their instructions. So, this is not some artificial external show of respect, which of course is required as well. But at the same time, the actual meaning of respect to the spiritual master is to follow his instructions. Right? So for which, as I've been repeatedly highlighting, one has to hear and one has to simply follow. There's no question of thinking or deciding should I follow, should I not follow. No, that independence is gone at the time of initiation. The time of initiation, we lose independence to decide whether I should accept the instruction of the spiritual master or not, and we simply follow. Of course, it's not that it has to happen only at the time of initiation. Really, spiritual life means submission to authority. And if we don't submit to authority, we will not make progress. It's as simple as that. Many of us actually we want somebody standing on top of our head, asking us to follow things. Otherwise, we'll simply ignore. We'll simply not bother. I've seen this many devotees. They're somewhat sincere, but because they don't have anybody to clearly guide them, they're just, you know, not really following things as they should be. And main concern that I see is people don't have authorities. People don't accept authorities. So it's the um, local temple which has to actually drive this. Make sure that everybody comes under some authority, that everybody is following an authority. Mm, So, and that authority should be in line with a senior, with another authority and so on, till Guru, till Srila Prabhupada, and so on. And one should follow their instructions. Of course, the authorities also should be pure devotees. So it's not that we just somebody comes in the position of authority who is not pure. Then the whole thing is spoiled. And the whole thing is spoiled. So he has to be pure. That means that his or her only goal is to also pleasure of Krishna and strictly following previous authorities, previous acharyas. Such people should become authorities and should guide devotees. It's very important. Otherwise, people will just do this. They will not follow any regulation, not control their senses, do whatever they want. It is recommended here with that all the acharyas be given the highest respect. So this is another thing. It's not that it's not like we are not. Oh, it's only my guru, my guru, my guru. And then when other senior Vaishnavas come, nobody turns up. So this is not highest respect. Yeah, we have to treat all of them equally, whether it is our own guru or somebody, some other senior Vaishnava. We have to have the same respect and service mindedness and desire to associate and serve and all that. It is stated Gurushu Naramatihi. Gurushu means unto the acharyas, and Naramati means thinking like a common man. This is another major thing that we are going wrong. We're treating acharyas as ordinary men. Gurushu Naramati. To think of the Vaishnavas, the devotees, as belonging to a particular caste or community, to think of acharyas as ordinary men, or to think of the deity in the temple as being made of stone, wood, or metal is condemned. This is not acceptable. We should not treat senior gurus, senior Vaishnavas as ordinary men. Should not bring them to our level. Niyamena, one should offer the greatest respect to the acharyas according to the standard regulations. Again, see, please note the use of words. Prabhupada is very clear. There are standard regulations and they have to be followed while dealing with acharyas. Devotee should also be compassionate to the poor. This does not refer to those who are poverty stricken materially. According to devotional vision, a man is poor if he is not in Krishna consciousness. A man may be very rich materially, but if he is not Krishna conscious, he is considered poor. On the other hand, many acharyas such as Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami used to live beneath trees every night. Superficially, it appeared that they were poverty stricken, but from their writings, we can understand that in spiritual life, they were the richest personalities. In fact, this past time happens like the Madan Gopal. He comes to Sanatan Goswami and he says, "Hmm." And so Sanatan Goswami is regularly sees this boy who is very beautiful and who comes and plays. And once he follows him, and then the boy goes into the Mohan temple, uh, some Madan Mohan temple, not the current one. And then he vanishes. And then after that, he again sees this boy in some. house of a Brahmana lady playing with her son. And like this, it is going on. Then Sanatan Goswami keeps seeing Madan Gopal every day. Then one day Madan Gopal comes and tells Sanatan Goswami, I want to come with you. Sanatan Goswami says, where will you come? I stay under a different tree every night. Madan Gopal is so, Sanatan Goswami is such an exalted devotee. Madan Gopal is saying, wherever you stay, I will come. Like this, so they are maybe materially they might seem poverty stricken, but they are the richest in spiritual wealth. A devotee shows compassion to those poor souls who are wanting in spiritual knowledge by enlightening them in order to elevate them to Krishna consciousness. That is one of the duties of a devotee. Please note, it's a direct instruction. It's a duty of a devotee to preach. He should also make friendship with persons who are on equal level with himself or who have the same understanding that he does. Now again, um, ideally in ISKCON, everybody should have the same understanding. But Prabhupada is saying this because there it won't be like that. There'll be different people with different understanding. Now, why should this difference in understanding come? It just depends on our level of surrender. Mm, So somebody is ready to accept Sarvadharma and Parityaja, somebody is not. The understanding might be the same, but the acceptance might be different. So then accordingly, we have to have association. Mm. So those who are surrendered or want to surrender will associate with devotees who are already surrendered. Those who are still not ready to surrender will associate with devotees who are not ready to surrender, who are still in the same phase. And so with such people, we should make friendship. See, because somebody who is not ready to surrender, if he comes to a person who is surrendered, then he will feel out of place because he's not ready yet. So it's important that association happens with like-minded devotees. For a devotee, there's no point in making friendships with ordinary persons. Please note. We don't make friendship. We just have acquaintance or just, social intercourse. We may just interact with people as required. Ordinary persons, that's all. No question of friendship. We should make friendship with other devotees so that by discussing among themselves, they may elevate one another on the path of spiritual understanding. See, the idea of this association is to make progress. It's not that we come together and we do prajalpa, we just talk like other material people and that's it. Oh, I felt nice talking to the devotee. But it's not a question of feeling nice. Actually, if we feel uncomfortable after meeting a devotee, that means that we have had good association. That means that devotee has shaken us little. And so we have to, our association, every moment spent should be with the idea of making progress. And when devotees come together and discuss among themselves how to elevate, etc., this is called Ishtagoshti. In Bhagavad Gita, there is reference to Bodhayanta Parasparam, discussing among themselves. Generally, few devotees utilize their valuable time in chanting and discussing various activities of Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya amongst themselves. There are innumerable books such as the Puranas, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Upanishads, which contain countless subjects for discussion among two devotees or more. Friendship should be cemented between persons with mutual interest and understanding. Again, the same part. Persons are said to be Swajati, the same caste. The devotee should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard understanding. Please note, so again, we have to discriminate when we are trying to make association with devotees. We should not associate with devotees whose character is not fixed in standard understanding. Meaning, standard understanding is whatever Prabhupada is giving in his books. That is a standard understanding. If somebody is not fixed, of course, somebody might not be at that following everything. But if they have a sincere desire to follow and make progress, then that's okay. But if somebody says, no, 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 I don't like this, I like this, and they are creating their own path. Already we discussed this. This person is called a separatist. He has his own path. He's not ready to follow what Prabhupada is saying. He is very stubborn minded, fixed in his thought process, which is not based on Shastra. We should avoid such persons. Externally, it might look like, oh, what is this? We are avoiding someone. But that is what Shastra says. If we don't discriminate, we are not strong enough. And we will go down. We'll go down. We might get influenced. See, even though he may be a Vaishnava or a devotee of Krishna, if his character is not correctly representative, he should be avoided. Again, these things are coming again and again. We should understand there is a reason why these things are being told. One should steadily control the senses and mind and strictly follow the rules and regulations. See, it can't be more clearer than this. We should control senses and mind and strictly follow rules and regulations. And he should make friendship with persons of the same standard. Which means that in this we can understand that there are different standards also in bhakti, which we already discussed: Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. So somebody might be in first standard, second standard, third standard. So we have to see what standard we are in. Same standard devotees we have to make friendship with. Those who are at a lower standard, we should have compassion and we should preach, guide them. Those who are on higher standard, we should serve and seek guidance and accept their instructions. This is the simple formula to make progress. Of course, even with people who are above us, higher standard, the relationship should be one of majorly respect and also love, which is the same relationship with the Guru. There is respect as well as love. Respect to accept whatever they're saying, love to serve them. A very weird combination. Generally, either people are able to show completely respect towards somebody or completely love somebody. Respect and love is a very special combination, which we can find only in spiritual life. So again, very, very powerful purpose. One should steadily control senses and mind. Strictly follow rules and regulations. Steadily control, strictly follow. All this might be difficult. It's not that it's not easy, but one who is simple minded, who is simply wanting to accept instructions and sincerely trying, he or she can accomplish this. It's not it's not impossible. It's little difficult because of our bad conditioning and because of the influence of Kali Yuga right now and people around us and situations around us. It is difficult. For many people it's difficult, but it's not impossible. आध्यात्मिकानुश्रवणं श्रवणान् नाम संकीर्तनाच्च मे आजवेनार्यसंगेन निरहङ्क्रियया तथा. A devotee should always try to hear about spiritual matters and should always utilize his time in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Always, always, always try to hear, always utilize. The beware should always be straightforward and simple. This is a major concern, especially among leaders. Mm, Simple and straightforwardness is a virtue. Although he's not envious but friendly to everyone, he should avoid the company of persons who are not spiritually advanced. Again, repeating the same thing, how much association is important. Mm. On the material platform, we'll say, hey, how can you do this? How can you talk ill about somebody? Here, we are not talking ill of somebody, but we are avoiding such company simply. And we should also not talk also because it's just poison. It just poisons our mind. We should never talk about any other devotee. Unnecessarily not required unless we are in position of authority. And that too, then that should be discussed in front of that devotee alone. Not talking about the devotee with somebody else. But generally, it's very, very clear. We should avoid company of persons who are not spiritually advanced. And spiritual advance doesn't mean years in Krishna consciousness. Spiritually advanced means Trinadapi Sunichena. Spiritually advanced means Guru Sadhu Sadhu Shastra. So many aspects are there of somebody who's spiritually advanced, right? So those who are not spiritually advanced, we should avoid their company. And see, so clearly it's saying always try to hear, always utilize time. Now, if you say something like this, if you repeat, actually, yesterday I was hearing one lecture of Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, simply you repeat with conviction. He said this, it hit me. Simply repeat with conviction. And I realized that's all that I think I'm trying to do. Right? Is to simply repeat that every instruction that is there in Bhagavatam given by Prabhupada is perfect. And simply repeat with the conviction that yes, it has to be followed. No other option. And of course, trying to do that in our own life. Hmm? So devotee should always try to hear spiritual matters, always try to utilize time chanting, should always be straightforward and simple. Straightforward. Prabhupada said leaders means those who are advanced in Shravanam Kirtanam. And he said if a leader is advanced in Shravanam Kirtanam, then everything will be all right. Then naturally that person will also be straightforward and simple. Of course, I'm talking about leaders because all of us have to become leaders. Otherwise, how will the movement grow? And all of us need to develop these qualities. We should be simple, straightforward, yet sensitive, yet assertive. All these things are required. Sometimes people think that it is very difficult to be humble and assertive. No, it's not. Humility actually means willingness to simply follow instructions of previous authority. That is humility. So then we'll obviously be assertive. But we can also be nice. We can say, I'm very sorry, but doesn't seem to be right as per Prabhupada. It is assertive at the same time, it's not like aggressive. So these qualities we have to develop. In order to advance in spiritual understanding, one has to hear from authentic sources about spiritual knowledge, which is Prabhupada. One can understand the reality of spiritual life by following strict regulative principles and by controlling the senses. See, only then we can understand reality. Otherwise, we are in some illusion. If we want to understand the reality of spiritual life, we should strictly follow regulative principles and control the senses. Now, how do we control? To have control, it is necessary that one be non-violent and truthful, refrain from stealing, abstain from sex life, and possess only that which is absolutely necessary for keeping the body and soul together. So, Prof is given a recommendation to us. How do we control our senses? Be non-violent and truthful, refrain from stealing, abstain from sex life, possess only that which is absolutely necessary for keeping the body and soul together. One should not eat more than necessary. He should not collect more paraphernalia than necessary. He should not talk unnecessarily with common men. He should not follow the rules and regulations without purpose. He should follow the rules and regulations so that he may actually make advancement. This is Upadeshamrita. Atyara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha and janasangasya laulamcha. So this is for making progress. We make progress. We control our senses if we can live like this. There are 18 qualifications mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, among which is simplicity. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shantimarjavam. One should be without pride. One should not demand unnecessary respect from others. One should be non-violent. One should be very tolerant and simple. One should accept spiritual master. One should control the senses. These are mentioned here and in Bhagavad Gita as well. One should hear from authentic sources how to advance in spiritual life, not for entertainment. We're not hearing for entertainment. Many devotees say it was very nice, class was very nice. Okay, very nice means what? Did we learn anything to make progress? That has to be the gauge to say whether a class was nice or not. Not whether the speaker made some jokes, whether it was entertaining, he told some new stories. That's not the point. And it should be authentic. It should be as per Guru Sadhu Shastra, not some whimsical philosophy. I've seen devotees sitting on Vyasasana and saying one can go on working throughout their life. Who has said it? Who has said this? Yes, work for Krishna throughout life, yes. But nobody has said that one should go on working like materially throughout their life. So these are not authentic. It's just, whatever we can accept, we should not sit on the Vyasasana and present. If you're sitting on Vyasasana, it should at least say, okay, we have to reach this stage, but I am not able to follow, which is okay. Which is why there is qualification for somebody who sits on the Vyasasana. Such instruction should be taken from the Acharya and should be assimilated, meaning it should be assimilated means incorporated, followed, then spoken. It's especially mentioned here, Nama Sankirtanacha, one should chant the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, either individually or with others. Lord Chaitanya has given special stress to chanting of these holy names of the Lord as the basic principle of spiritual advancement. Basic principle. Another word used here is Arjavena, meaning without diplomacy. We should keep diplomacy, politics outside ISKCON. A devotee should not make plans out of self-interest. Of course, preachers sometimes have to make some plan to execute the mission of the Lord under proper guidance. Again, proper guidance. But regarding personal self-interest, a devotee should always be without diplomacy. Should avoid the company of persons who are not advancing in spiritual life. Please again note. So we should associate with people who are advancing in spiritual life. We've seen somebody 10 years back also, the devotee was like that only. Today also is like that only. We should simply avoid. Another word is Arya. Aryans are persons who are advancing in knowledge of Krishna consciousness as well as in material prosperity. The difference between Aryan and non-Aryan, the Sura and Asura, is in their standards of spiritual advancement. Association with persons who are not spiritually advanced is forbidden. Of course, it doesn't matter what the material advancement of a person is. But yeah, if Krishna willing, he can also be materially prosperous. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not neither a qualification nor a disqualification. Now, Chaitanya advised Asat Sanga Tyag. One should avoid persons who are attached to the temporary. Asat is one who is too materially attached, who is not a devotee of the Lord, or who is too attached to women or enjoyable material things. He is Asat. Such a person, according to Vaishnava philosophy, is a person non grata, persona non grata. He cannot be considered as a Vaishnava and we should not associate with. A devotee should not be proud of his acquisitions, be it whatever wealth, beauty, knowledge, etc. etc. Symptoms of a devotee are meekness and humility. Again, it doesn't mean non-assertion, doesn't mean not being wanting to follow previous acharyas. Humility actually means willingness to follow, fixed willingness to follow, determination to follow previous acharyas. Although spiritually very advanced, he will always remain meek and humble. As Kaviraj Goswami and all the other Vaishnavas have taught us by personal example. Krishna asked Kaviraj Goswami in every chapter, he says, I am useless. Just by the mercy of Goswamis, other Goswamis, that I am able to do this work, especially Rupa and Raghunatha Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that one should be humbler than grass on the street and more tolerant than the tree. One should not be proud or falsely puffed up. In this way, one will surely advance in spiritual life. Prabhupada is guaranteeing. If a devotee doesn't develop Pranadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnana Amani Namanadena, he is not going to make advancement in spiritual life. Along with that comes all this lack of diplomacy, not attached to material, simplicity, lack of pride. All these qualities will develop in a devotee. So we should try to associate with devotees who are advanced than us and who are making advancement, and avoid association with those devotees who are not making advancement, who have no willingness to make advancement, or who might even have their own path that they're following, not wanting to surrender. Such devotees we should simply avoid. It's not me, it's Bhagavatam and Prabhupada very clearly saying this. Okay, we'll stop here. If there are any questions, comments, we can. Anything, anybody? All clear? Okay. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, माता कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhanavad.